Here's a story that will make your jaw drop. Madagascar's youth just toppled their president, and it's all thanks to Gen Z. But here's where it gets controversial. The victory came with the help of an elite military unit, leaving many to wonder, was this a revolution or a coup in disguise? Let's dive in. As the sun dipped below the horizon at Place du 13 Mai in Antananarivo, Madagascar's capital, the air buzzed with energy. Thousands of people danced, cheered, and waved to the rhythm of rap and reggae, celebrating a hard-won victory. It all began on September 25th, when young protesters took to the streets, initially rallying against water and power outages. But their demands quickly escalated, calling for a complete overhaul of the political system. And this is the part most people miss. This wasn't just a random uprising. It was a meticulously organized movement fueled by Gen Z's determination. Place du 13 Mai holds deep historical significance. Since 1972, when 40 student demonstrators were killed there by security forces, it has been a symbol of democracy and the epicenter of anti-government protests. When the youth tried to reach the square in September, military police blocked their path. But everything changed on October 11th, when the elite military unit Capsat, short for Corps d'Administration des Personnels et des Services Administratifs et Techniques, sided with the protesters, escorting them to the square. The next day, President Andry Rajoelina reportedly fled to Dubai on a French military plane. By Friday, Capsat's commander, Col Michael Randrianirina, was sworn in as transitional president, promising to hold power for 18 to 24 months. The young protesters, united under the banner of Gen Z Madagascar, were ecstatic. Many praised Capsat for their support, while others expressed concern about transitioning to military rule instead of a civilian government. One thing was clear. Their fight for a better Madagascar was far from over. Take Antonio, a 17-year-old with shaggy hair and a black face mask, who delivered a passionate speech to the crowd at Place du 13 Mai. The protests aren't over, he declared. We must stay vigilant. Antonio, who withheld his full name, had kind words for Capsat, thanking them for helping the protesters reach the sacred place of 13 May. But his most fervent praise was reserved for his fellow Gen Z activists. They gave us the victory, he said. Madagascar, an island nation off Africa's southeast coast, is a land of contrasts. With a population of 32 million, it's rich in biodiversity and natural resources like precious gems and vanilla. Yet, it's also one of the poorest countries in the world, plagued by corruption. Last year, its GDP per capita was just $545, ranking it fifth poorest globally. Transparency International's 2024 Corruption Index placed it 140th out of 180 countries. Rajoelina, a former DJ turned mayor of Antananarivo, first came to power in 2009 through a coup backed by Capsat. He stepped down in 2014 only to return as president in 2019 and again in 2023, in an election boycotted by the opposition, who claimed it was rigged. Under his leadership, the lives of Malagasy people barely improved. GDP per capita rose just 22% since 2009, and only 5% of the population holds formal salaried jobs. With over half the population under 20, it's no surprise that youth frustration boiled over when two councillors were arrested in September for organizing protests against utility outages. Gen Z Madagascar quickly mobilized online, using Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and Signal to coordinate. Inspired by similar movements in Indonesia, the Philippines, and Nepal, they adopted the skull and crossbones flag from the anime One Piece, replacing the original straw hat with a pink and green Satroka bucket hat from Madagascar's Betsileo ethnic group. This flag now flies proudly at Place du 13 Mai. The government's initial response was brutal. At least 22 people were killed in the first days of the protests, according to the UN. Rajoelina disputed this, claiming only 12 looters and vandals died. But the tide turned when Capsat announced on October 11th that they would not fire on protesters and called on the military to join them. Still, violence persisted, as seen in the case of Aina Sarobidy Randriamiharisoa, a 28-year-old mining truck mechanic who was shot in the thigh during the protests. Despite undergoing 2 surgeries, he lost his leg above the knee. "I did it for my country," he said, his optimism unwavering. Capsat's intervention has been hailed as an act of courage, shifting public perception of the unit, which was previously associated with the violent 2009 coup. Yet questions remain. Is Randrianirina's takeover truly a transitional step toward democracy, or is it another chapter in Madagascar's cycle of political instability? Some Gen Z protesters reject the coup label, emphasizing the bloodless nature of the takeover and its approval by the Constitutional Court. Others fear their revolution could be co-opted by the new regime. Tiana, a 26-year-old activist, expressed concern about the lack of youth involvement in decision-making. "We don't feel included," she said. "He listens, but he doesn't consult us." Here's the burning question. Is Madagascar on the path to genuine reform, or is this just another power grab disguised as progress? What do you think? Let the debate begin.